All right, let's talk about something that so many of us struggle with: people pleasing, that constant need to make everyone else happy. But today, we're going to look at it from a totally new angle, based on the incredible work of Dr. Ingrid Clayton. What if this isn't just some bad habit? What if it's actually a survival instinct hardwired into us? I mean, does this sound like you? That feeling of just being completely drained by trying to keep everybody happy? Or that awful wave of guilt that washes over you when you even think about saying no to someone? If any of that hits home, you are definitely in the right place. You know, there's a reason they call it a trap. It's this powerful, vicious cycle that can feel totally impossible to break out of. It really can leave you feeling stuck. So the big question is, why is it so darn hard to stop? Well, this right here is the heart of the problem. On the outside, everyone sees you as this amazing, helpful, super agreeable person, the one they can always rely on. But inside, wow, it's a completely different story, isn't it? You feel drained, maybe even a little resentful. You feel invisible, like your own needs don't matter. And that gap, that's where the real damage happens. But here's the question that can change everything. We are so quick to judge ourselves for this, right? To call it a weakness, a character flaw, but what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if this isn't about you being weak? What if it's about you being a survivor? And that brings us to this powerful concept, fawning. This idea completely reframes people-pleasing. It's not a choice you're making, it's an automatic survival instinct, every bit as real as fight or flight. And this just lays it out so perfectly. The old story we tell ourselves is full of shame. I'm so weak, I always give in. But the new story? It's filled with compassion. My brain learned that pleasing others was the best way to stay safe. See the difference? One is a judgment, the other is an explanation. And that changes everything. So what is fawning exactly? Well, it's what your brain does automatically when it senses a threat. And that threat could be anything: an angry boss, a disappointed partner, you name it. Your system's response is to immediately try to neutralize that threat by becoming as helpful and compliant as possible. It's about de-escalation, purely for survival. For decades, we've all heard about the 3 F's of trauma, right? Fight, flight, and freeze. Well, it's time to officially add a 4th to that list: fawn. Putting it here with the others shows it's not some personal failing. It's a real, physiological, nervous system response to what your body perceives as danger. Now, if you've ever tried to stop people-pleasing and it just didn't work, I want you to listen closely. It's probably not because you didn't have enough willpower. It's usually because we fall into these really common traps that honestly can end up making things even worse. The source material points out 3 big missteps. First, we just blame ourselves, which only makes the shame worse. Second, we read a book or an article and try to jump straight to being super assertive without any real prep work. And third, we only focus on the behavior, like just trying to say no more, without getting to the deep roots of why we're doing it in the first place. So how do we fix that first mistake? It all comes back to that reframe. You have to catch that thought, I'm so weak, and consciously replace it with, this was a clever strategy my body learned to keep me safe. It might feel weird at first, but practicing this actively chips away at the shame that keeps you stuck. Okay, and the fix for mistake number 2 is so important. Safety first, always. Think about it. You wouldn't just go out and run a marathon tomorrow, right? You'd train first. It's the same thing here. You don't just set a huge boundary with a difficult person without a plan. That can actually be dangerous and make things worse. You have to plan ahead. And finally, for that 3rd mistake, you've got to look at the whole picture. Just trying to change the behavior is like trying to fix the tip of the iceberg. Real lasting change means you have to address the entire system. Calming your body's stress response, challenging those deep-seated beliefs, and then practicing the new behaviors. So, we know the pitfalls now, right? Blaming ourselves, jumping in too fast, and only scratching the surface. A safer path forward flips all of that on its head. It's all about building a solid foundation of safety before you even think about making big changes. That is the secret to getting your voice back. I really want to pause on this because if you take one thing away, let it be this: safety first sequencing. It just means you get yourself calm and you make a plan before you try what the source calls high-risk behavioral experiments. Like confronting a really difficult person. Plan first, then act. Every single time. Okay, so let's get practical. How do we actually do this? This action plan is designed to help you put all these ideas into practice without falling into those traps we talked about. We've broken it down into a really clear 4-phase journey to make it feel less overwhelming. And you have to do these in order. Phase 1 is just about becoming a detective. You notice your triggers, you make a safety plan. You're not changing a thing yet, you're just observing. Then, phase 2 is all about calming your system down and working on those old beliefs. It's only then, in phase 3, that you start practicing with super low-risk stuff, like telling a friendly coworker, "Hey, let me get back to you on that." Then, finally, phase 4 is where it all starts to click, and you actually begin to reconnect with what you want. And we have to be crystal clear about something here. A lot of people are terrified that if they stop people-pleasing, they're going to turn into some kind of selfish monster. Let's just put that myth to rest right now. The goal of unfawning is not to become a jerk. The real goal is having a choice. It's about getting to a place where you can say yes and mean it with your whole heart, because you truly want to, not because you're scared of what will happen if you say no. It's about getting back to the real you, the one who got quieted down along the way. So I'll leave you with this final thought. This whole journey back to yourself starts small. It doesn't have to be some big, dramatic confrontation. It can be as simple as asking yourself this one question and then actually listening to the answer. What's just one tiny preference? What music to play, what to eat, what to do right now that you can honor? Just for you. That's it. That's where it all begins.